here with Uncle Bob Martin, who just gave his keynote, and it was titled 25 Zeros. 25 Zeros. What did that refer to?
It was 25 orders of magnitude. If you compare a PDP-8, a circa 1960 computer, to a Mac PowerBook, you find that the Mac PowerBook is 8,000 times faster. It has 6 million times more memory. It required 1/1000th the power, cost 1/500th the amount, and you start adding up all the zeros, and you can easily get to 25 orders of magnitude. And so the idea was that in the last 40 years, we have experienced 25 orders of magnitude increase in computing power. Just in machines that we now carry around with us and use to tweet. And what have we as software people done with that power? And so one of the themes of the keynote was that we've actually done very little. Oh, we've written lots of code and all, but the kind of code we've been writing has been sequence statements, if statements, while loops. We haven't really done anything new. Now, you could say that objects are new, but they're really just a different way to organize sequence, selection, and iteration. You could say that functional is some kind of new thing, although it was born in the 50s. And that, again, is just a different way to organize these fundamental building blocks. So what new thing have we done? The answer is not much.
So the theme, as we all grow older, everything old is new again. It's kind of a nice thing to think about.
Well, I don't know if it's nice. It would be interesting if out of our algebra, this set of languages that we currently have, it would be nice if some Newton could come along or some Leibniz would come along and invent calculus to give us a level above what we're currently at, because sequence, selection, and iteration is going to run out of steam.
You had a selection of books in your talk that you recommended, and there were 4 of them, I believe. Can you go through that list?
Sure. So the first book that I talked about, which is the second book people should read, is Structured Programming by Dijkstra, Dahl, and Hoare. And in this book, you'll read about how Dijkstra decided GoTo was not such a great idea, and you'll read about Dahl talking about Simula 67 and the birth of objects. It's not a well-known fact that Dijkstra's GoTo paper and the birth of object-oriented design were in the same book and at the same time, and both called Structured Programming, by the way.
So one thing that you mentioned in your talk was that controversial topics today, such as TDD, you think will eventually become these sort of just best practices, just like GoTo or obfuscating GoTo was back then.
Almost invisible practices. And we don't even think about not using GoTo anymore. Most programmers don't even think about GoTo at all. And one of the reasons we don't is that our languages either don't support it or hide it. Now, that's certainly not the way it used to be. And Fortran, COBOL, languages like that were very GoTo-rich languages. And nowadays, our languages just don't have them. So the second book I mentioned, which is the first book people should read, is The Structure and Interpretation of Computer Programs by Abelson and Sussman. This is a book on scheme, although you should ignore the fact that it's about scheme and focus on all the really interesting stuff it does. I've spoken about this book many times, but it's a terrific book. It's a real page-turner. You start reading it and you're just flipping through the pages like crazy, reading like mad. You get to page 216 after studying gobs and gobs of really interesting stuff, and they introduce the first assignment statement. So you get an idea that this book is not the usual kind of hello world book. Also, all of the video lectures from MIT that Abelson and Sussman did are available on the net. So you can get the book, you can read the book, then you can watch these guys do this magic on the blackboard with scheme. It's really cool.
Now, that book is out of print, obviously, and you can get it on eBay. There's also, it's available online, I believe, as
It is available
in
online,
HTML.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So the third book I mentioned, let's see, what was that third book that I mentioned? I don't remember what it was. The fourth book I mentioned was Clean Code. Everyone should get that one. What was the third one?
Clean Code was mentioned to a rousing
yes, well, that was how I walked
group of applause, yes. I'm actually drawing a blank on the third book.
Right. It was a very important book.
Absolutely.
Extremely important, and we'll remember it as soon as we stop recording.
All right. So you haven't had a whole lot of experience at this RailsConf in Baltimore. What do you like about RailsConfs in general?
Oh, well, Rails conferences are where the energy is. I mean, there are lots of conferences out there, and some of them are very good, but you go to Rails and there's just this electricity in the air. The excitement is on the ceiling, and for good reason, right? This is a good technology. It's rich, it's fast. These guys working in it know they're onto something. They know they've got a tiger by the tail. So, it's just fun to be here.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time, Bob.
Very welcome.